Welcome in, college hockey fans in the Desert Southwest. It's College Hockey Southwest Weekly special edition for the NCAA tournament. I got a special guest host in, a guy that knows an awful lot about hockey, knows an awful lot about ASU, knows an awful lot about NCAA hockey. Greg Cameron with me from College Hockey News and some stuff on AZ Rubber as well right now, right?
Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Great to have you in, but exciting time, isn't it?
It is. This has been a while in the making. Believe it or not, it's not the 4-year odyssey. It's been longer than that, and watching it pay off has been a pretty cool thing from the journalistic side of things here.
You know, and what's neat for you is you grew up in New England, right?
Yes.
You came out here to ASU, so
I did.
You've seen pretty much hockey all around the country, but you've never lost the enthusiasm for NCAA hockey. And
No,
this time of year, to me, it's probably the best tournament of all of college hockey, of all of college sports.
That's exactly right. It may be a smaller field than basketball. It may be less teams you know of than football, any of the bigger NCAA sports, but this tournament in particular is very special to me. I've seen plenty of great teams growing up. I saw Jack Parker's BU Terriers, all these great teams in the Northeast, watched Providence come from nothing to win a championship in Boston. It was very special for all those teams. It can be special for Arizona State too if they can get by Quinnipiac.
You know, and I heard a lot of stuff on Selection Sunday. I'm going, oh, they must have been the last team in because they were the last team announced. No, folks. They actually got themselves in the middle of it. They're a 3 seed, so it's not like they snuck into this tournament or didn't deserve to be there. They definitely earned their way in, as Coach Power said. But now that they're in, I looked at the 4 different regionals, and personally, I think they may have gotten into the best regional for them. Your thoughts?
I think all the regionals are very close. I think this one in particular is the most interesting because you don't have 2 teams from the same conference in this one. You have Minnesota Duluth from the NCHC, won that conference tournament over a very stacked St. Cloud team. You have Bowling Green, who's been an up-and-comer this season, first tournament appearance since 1990. And you have Quinnipiac, who has, like Arizona State, become a very interesting, newer team in the landscape. The fact that these teams don't meet very often is something that I think is going to be very interesting to watch. Although we do know that Quinnipiac's been here and has hosted the Devils in Connecticut on multiple occasions. They're a bit familiar with each other. We're going to see what that's like.
Yeah, Coach Powers told me they actually played 5 times, which is pretty unique in college hockey when you've only been a college hockey team for 3+ years, if you want to count the hybrid season. But when we look forward to the competition in this tournament, you and I talked at Christmas time with the Desert Hockey Classic. Minnesota Duluth is in, Minnesota State's in, Clarkson's in, ASU is in. That's a pretty strong field for a holiday tournament.
There's no better prep for a regional than a proto-regional, if you will.
Yeah.
And as was the case in December, 4 very, very good goalies.
Yes.
The one that isn't a Mike Richter candidate in the final 10 there, Ryan Bednard from Bowling Green, 18 wins, I believe. He probably, honestly, could have been one of those final 10. This is going to be, I think, a very low-scoring game between ASU and Quinnipiac. A lot of chances traded both ways, though, and I think the same goes in the Duluth versus Bowling Green matchup as well.
Here's the other interesting thing. When you looked at the 4 regionals, every other game is going to be completed in the first round when ASU takes to the ice, basically.
Yep.
They're playing the very last game. Good or bad in your estimation?
I think it's ultimately a good thing. The rest factor doesn't really seem to be phasing these guys. We've talked to them all day today. None of them really, you don't see a lot of rust on them. It was a hard competitive practice today. They've made sure they've gone hard in the weight room. One thing that I do think will play into their hand now is that it's a Saturday night game.
Right.
It's going to be a great time on both coasts to watch this game. So if you're familiar with the name brand of Arizona State and you don't know what they're about yet, you're going to get a good chance to look at them.
And the ESPN family's got all the games on, so that's where everybody can find the games. Locally, Selection Sunday just happened a couple of days ago. Great for the way that they put it together here at ASU. They brought them all out to the new golf facility. They had supporters there. They had family there. They had administrators. What was your thought on that? Did they do it up right?
Yeah, they definitely did. I haven't seen very many pictures from the other ones, but you know, it was bag toss and shorts with polos. It was pretty much everything that we've seen from this culture as a whole. It was very nice. The support they got. Ray Anderson was there, the athletic director. You saw some guys from the ACHA championship team in 2014 there. A lot of family, a lot of supporters. It was quaint, but it was nice. Food was great too.
And
Can't beat that.
And the nice part about that also was it's a great recruiting film, right? You put
is.
that on with the
Oh,
golf
yeah.
course and the mountains in the background and the blue sky. I mean, who doesn't want to come play hockey at Arizona State after you see that?
The biggest challenge was getting the competitive team on the ice, and they've done that. This is just icing on the cake now that you get to be out by the pool waiting for your name to be called. So.
All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back with PJ Marrocco and a little visit we did there, talking to a freshman who's not really a freshman anymore. And then we'll come back with Dylan Hollman, Coach Powers, and you and I will wrap it up and we'll talk what ASU has to do to actually win this thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, welcome in, hockey fans in the Desert Southwest, College Hockey Southwest Weekly. This is our NCAA tournament preview. I've got a freshman with me who's not really a freshman anymore. PJ Marrocco is with me. PJ, first of all, welcome in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So here we go, right? We're at the end of the regular season. You guys have had a whole bunch of time to sit and think about what's going to happen. We're 4 days away from your first trip ever to an NCAA tournament. Lots of firsts, lots of historic things happening, but tell me what's going through your head right now, 4 days before the game.
I think just excitement. I mean, just another hockey game, but I think to go down there first time, I mean, history. I mean, I think last night was the first time I actually get clued in that this is the first time, and it'll be done a lot more down the road, but this is the first one. So just excitement and ready to go.
You know, the last time we saw you on the ice here at Oceanside Ice Arena, you scored a pretty big goal against AIC. What's your life been like since then? Has anything changed, or are you still the same PJ?
No, the same PJ. I think just going out there, working hard, and trying to contribute as best as I can. But no, I think after that game, I think I would say the veterans have definitely put me back into perspective a little bit after that. But no, definitely, just the exact same.
You know, when I talk to the older guys on the team, they talk about how ever since day one, this was a family, right? Everybody fit in, there's no cliques, everybody's had a really good time getting along with each other. Is that rare from what you've seen in hockey growing up?
No, hands down. I think right from the start when we first got here in end of June, just a big difference from the leadership all the way down, welcoming us in as a family. And I think even last year on my national team, it still didn't have that family, and this is just a special group of kids, and we definitely don't want the year to end anytime soon.
You know, we talked about that last weekend that you guys had up in Minnesota, and I know everybody would like to forget it, but sometimes when you don't play your best and you get beat like that, that's kind of like a little thorn in your side, chip on your shoulder that you want to carry in and go like, we don't want our season to end this way. Is that kind of the way you guys have taken the last 3.5 weeks? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, no one likes to lose, but losing the last 2 games have definitely during this long break, it's been a big chip on our shoulder. I mean, a lot of people can talk about that weekend, and we see it, but definitely a big chip, and I think we're ready to go. We've worked our asses off for this moment, so all year, we're excited.
You know, I know you guys didn't care who you played or where you played. You just wanted to be in the tournament and you want to advance in the tournament. But when I look at this bracket, Quinnipiac, Bowling Green, Minnesota Duluth, they're all good teams, but they're all teams that you can beat and have beaten at some point.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's the same mentality going into Penn State or BU or BC coming in here. It's every team's good in college. Doesn't matter where you're ranked. We played RIT and gave us 2 hard games. You can't take any team lightly. Even Alaska, going all the way back to the first game of the year, it was like, you're like 3-2 win, and now you're So it's you can't take any team lightly, and every team's great. It's a top 16 for a reason, and yeah, no, it's going to be a hard-fought game, and we're ready for it.
Is it different knowing that one and done? I mean, if you lose, you're done for the year, versus if you win, you continue on. Do you prepare mentally for the game differently, or is it the same as every game?
You know what? That's a great question, but honestly, we've been doing that since I would say November.
Okay.
Every game we've been going into, if it's one game, you lose, season might be over.
Right.
So every game since November has been a must-win, and I think that's prepared us for this moment, and we're ready for it.
Let's wrap it up by you telling me a little bit. You've been in tournaments before. You've been in big pressure situations before. I'm guessing this might be the biggest one,
Yeah.
but maybe not. But when you think back to your career, how did you play those games, and what will you take from previous experiences into this game on Saturday night?
You know what? Just going all the way back 1 year ago exactly now, back to the RBC. I think it was just taking one game at a time, one shift at a time. Don't look ahead of the period. I think those are the biggest things. It's just and having fun with it. I mean, this is a lifetime experience. You never know when you're going to do it again.
Yeah.
So just enjoy it and take one shift at a time, and play your ass off.
All right, PJ Marrocco, thanks for your time. Get out there, get started early this time, and let's see what we can do to those Bobcats from Quinnipiac.
Thank you.
Pre-game like a pro, post-game like a champion at College Bar and Grill. Located across the street from the iconic A Mountain and Sun Devil Stadium and a quick walk from Wells Fargo Arena, College Bar and Grill is your home for the best local craft beer, delicious creative cocktails, tasty food, and Tempe's best atmosphere for Arizona State athletics. College Bar and Grill. Pre-game like a pro, post-game like a champion. Online at ilovecollege.co.
All right, welcome in, college hockey fans in the Desert Southwest. College Hockey Southwest Weekly, a special edition, the NCAA Tournament. I've got Dylan Hollman with me, senior Dylan Hollman, 5-year senior Dylan Hollman. I can say a lot of good things about you, Dylan, but tell me a little bit about what this means to you. You worked for this, you wanted to be here, now it's just about here.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. Since I first got here, about what the goal was, and just kind of to see it become a reality. I'm really happy. Especially for the guys and the coaching staff who've put in so much time. In the time that I've been here to see the hard work all pay off is just incredible.
So when you got here, I know the goal was to get here. What was the reality in the back of your head? We've talked about this before, but tell us again, what was the reality? Was this something you thought you were going to accomplish in your time here?
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely want to set realistic goals. So we didn't think it was impossible by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously it was definitely a process. From the beginning, we struggled a lot for the first couple of years, and there were times when it seemed like it was out of reach to reach this goal within my last year. But at the same time, we had flashes of times when we knew we could play with those top tier teams, and it was just a matter of putting it all together and playing some consistent hockey for the full course of a season. And we were able to do that this year, and we made it happen.
So now you're in the top 16 of all of NCAA college hockey. You didn't sneak in, right? You were, even though they announced you as the last team. I know there were some nerves there, but you guys come in as a 3 seed, so it's not like you were the last team in or anything like that. So expectations going into this weekend, you expect to win?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think one thing that would be detrimental for us is to just be happy to be there. I think, like I said, we've beaten some good teams this year, and that's the expectation. We're not just happy to be there. We fully expect ourselves to win in advance. So anything less than that is going to be a failure in our eyes.
When I look at the 4 different regionals, I look at all of them, and I'm going like, wow, you guys maybe got the best draw that you could have asked for. Not to take anything away from other teams, but you can play with Quinnipiac, you can play with Bowling Green, you can play with Minnesota Duluth. Do you guys feel that way, or did it really not matter?
I don't know if we necessarily look at it like that. I mean, anytime you make the NCAA tournament, you're playing a quality opponent every game.
Right.
That's a given. So each team that that we could potentially play going forward here is fully capable of being a national champion winner probably. And so we're certainly not going to take anybody lightly. we're taking it one game at a time. We're focusing on Quinnipiac and know they have a really good squad, and we're just focused like we have been all year on just playing our game. And if we do that, and we just let the chips fall where they may, and we'll be happy with that.
I watched practice today, and I don't know that I've ever seen you guys practice so many different things. I mean, every detail was covered. Mm-hmm. Coach Powers is detailed very much, but is this one of those practices? Have you seen one like this before where he said you that detailed on everything?
It's not often, but we've talked already earlier this week about how that's going to be the difference between winning and losing is a couple small decisions and a few details. I think we've been talking about that story with Tom Izzo and the Michigan coach, kind of how he's taken some heat for holding his players accountable. But we believe he's absolutely spot on to hold his guys accountable, because similar to us, we're at this point in the season, one mistake can be the difference between winning and losing, and different guys are going to get different amounts of ice time. So it's within each individual to go out there and do your job and make sure you're mentally prepared, so that those mental mistakes aren't going to cost us and potentially cost us the game.
Tell me what you expect on game day this time, knowing that it's a one and done, it's an NCAA tournament, all the eyes are on you. It's the last game of the regionals, literally. What do you expect it to feel like an hour or two before game time?
Yeah, I mean, nerves are definitely going to be a factor. This is the first time, obviously, that this program has been in a one and done, a winner go home situation, playing postseason hockey. So for some of us who have been here for a while, it's been a while since we played playoff hockey. But at some point, we've all done it in our careers, played in some big games. Most of us, some of us were lucky enough to win championships at the junior level or before that. So it's definitely a bigger stage. It's going to be nationally televised. There'll be a lot of people there, I assume, and the stakes are just that much higher. So for us, I think it's just going to be about controlling, managing those emotions, and maybe we haven't played in a while, so that first period to make sure we come out and not get ahead of ourselves and not try to make a home run play out of the gate, and just stick with our game plan, and then eventually the nerves will kind of fade away.
Dylan Hollman, appreciate time as always. Good luck this weekend. Let's keep this thing rolling, because I've got tickets to Buffalo.
All right, thanks Scott for having me.
Hey, Michael here from M-Drive. My dad, a world-class scientist, actually made M-Drive for himself to stay active and continue enjoying life. And yes, M-Drive supports healthy testosterone, but it's so much more. M-Drive is the everyday supplement to fuel your drive with more energy and more strength. Listen, we'd love for you to try M-Drive too. Visit mdriveformen.com and we'll give you 20% off your first purchase. Just type in the code DRIVE at checkout. Refine your prime with M-Drive.
All right, welcome in college hockey fans in the Desert Southwest. This is a big week for College Hockey Southwest Weekly, for the Arizona State Sun Devils, for hockey in the Desert Southwest. I mean, you name it, this is what it's all about, right, Coach Powers?
Yeah, no, this has been our goal for a long time, and we're here, and now we need to make the most of it.
Making the most of it, that's a good term. What are you doing in preparation for this particular opening game against Quinnipiac?
Just preparing for every situation that we might see. We understand and completely know how good they're going to be, how well coached they're going to be, how disciplined they're going to be, how great their power play is. There's no holes. And that's what Rand has built there over the course of the last 20 plus years is just a perennial power top program. So they've been in this situation many times, and they're going to be ready, and our guys are excited about it.
When I watched practice today, I commented to a couple different guys, including Dylan Hollman. I said, have you guys gone through many practices this detailed? I mean, you had everything covered, from 5-on-3s to 6-on-5s to an official on the ice. I know you're detailed.
Yeah,
that was really detailed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's why leave anything short? Right. We don't want any situation to come up on Saturday that our guys aren't confident and comfortable in, and it's not just almost instinct. And so we had definitely not over prepared. We don't want our guys to overthink things in that regard. But for any specific situation, they're ready for it.
It's been a long time since you last played a game. I know you weren't happy with the performance in Minnesota, the way it ended and everything. And now is a redemption chance if you want, or is it just playing another game of hockey in the NCAA?
No, I don't think that's even crossed our minds to redeem ourselves for one bad series. It was it was what it was, and we've completely washed that series in every way, and it didn't affect us. We knew it wouldn't affect us going into it, essentially. So it is what it is. To try and redeem ourselves for one bad series in such a spectacular season wouldn't really make much sense. We've had a great year. Our guys have earned the right to go play in this tournament and compete for a national championship, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
When you look around college hockey and you look at the 16 teams that are in there, you guys have played them, beaten a lot of them. Is there anybody you feel like maybe has a leg up on you guys, or are you guys as competitive as anybody there?
We're certainly as competitive as anybody, and we've proven that. There's just one of the advantages to our schedule is we've seen everything. We've seen more tournament teams than anybody else in the entire tournament. So there's nothing really that we haven't seen. We didn't play Quinnipiac this year, but we have played them 5 times. So we know what to expect and how hard they play and how good they're going to be. So no, our guys are ready for whatever is thrown at them.
You talk playoff hockey. Obviously, the goaltender is a big key, but special teams are also a big key. How do you take your chip on the shoulder style of play and play that style so that it doesn't hurt you?
Well, I think we've done it a lot this year, and we've gone through every game, and generally when we can commit 4 or less penalties against, we win. Yeah. And so it's a fine line with a young program. When we have to play so hard to compete, is finding that fine line and on maintaining discipline. And there have been some games this year where we haven't, and that's been addressed. And there's been a lot of games more than we haven't that we have. And that's why we've won 21 games. You cannot win 21 games against the schedule that we've played if you're a quote unquote undisciplined hockey team. Have we had some games that have gotten away from us? Yeah, but again, those have been addressed and they'll be fixed.
So obviously you don't have Jacob Wilson, at least for the regional. If you advance beyond that, you'll get him back. But otherwise, everybody else seems to have rounded into health with this 3.5 week period off.
Yeah, we're completely healthy. Knock on wood, we're healthy, we're fresh. The guys are strong. They put in a ton of work with Leanne over this past 4 weeks. So we're in a great spot. We really are.
Let's talk about how things are going to go. When are you traveling? What's this whole structure like? It's different with the NCAA, right? And 4 teams in one spot. It's
logistically, it's a little bit of a challenge. They do the best that they can on short notice, and we're gonna leave here Thursday morning and get out there Thursday evening and drop our gear, have a nice meal, and wake up and experience the tournament, and go to practice and do the whole media stuff, and then I think it's great that we play on Saturday night. It gives our guys a chance to kind of take everything in a little bit, watch some games on TV, and enjoy the experience and settle in a little bit.
Good for the guys. How is it for a coach that has to wait it all out? Are you okay with that?
Totally fine with it. I'm going to do the same thing. We've worked tremendously hard to get here, and so we're going to enjoy it. We're going to take it in and enjoy it without the risk of just being content being there. That's not who we are. That's not what got us to this point. And we're going to leave it all out there. Like I told, our guys know there's no pressure on us. Yep. Nobody expected us to get here, and nobody expects us to go beat Quinnipiac. And so our guys are going to be loose. They're going to play hard. They're going to have fun, I like where we're at.
Let's wrap things up with talking a little bit about Sunday and the selection show and the gathering that you guys had and the support that you had. It's making some progress right now, making some waves, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gaining traction, and we had a tremendous, turnout. It was awesome. It was great to see. Our players deserve it. They deserve that kind of support, and to be honest, they've gotten it pretty much all year. This place is a fun place to play, and ASU's treated us great on campus. They're treated very well, and I think very well received. And having a winning year certainly doesn't hurt.
Well, the next time we talk, it's going to be at the regional. But after that, can you let yourself think about what a Frozen 4 appearance would mean, or don't even want to think about that at this point?
Honestly, I haven't even gone there, man. Like there's no reason for us to stray from what got us to this point, and that's focus on what's right in front of us.
That's what I wanted to hear. Good luck this weekend, Coach.
Thank you.
Want to do something fun and interesting for your next group outing, family get-together, or birthday party? Well, check out an ice rental at Oceanside Ice Arena. Oceanside offers private skating group rates that include figure or hockey skate rental for all skaters in the group. Oceanside also does private ice rental for hockey and other events as well. Call Adam Mims at 480-941-0944, extension 11, or visit them online at oceansideicearena.net.
All right, welcome into College Hockey Southwest Weekly. We're going to wrap things up. I got Greg Cameron still with me. College Hockey News, Arizona Rubber, AZ Rubber, I guess we call it officially. But an insider, right? You know everything that's going on with this program. I read your articles. I know what you've done. I know the research you've done.
Yes, thank you.
And you've done a fantastic job. It's always fun because down here in the desert Southwest, it's also an educational part of it, right?
It is.
I mean, I was out at College Bar on Saturday or Sunday for the selection show, and there were fans coming up to me asking me, tell me how this happened. How do people get here? How do these teams get here? How do they match up? It's different because if you're not familiar with college hockey, you look at the regionals and you go West Regional in Fargo, North Dakota,
Yep.
a Midwest in Allentown, PA.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of them match up okay.
Yes.
But in the hockey world, this is as big as it gets, correct?
It is, and to your point, some of those fans are going to learn a lot about hockey that they didn't know already.
Right.
Whether it's just in the rules, in how Arizona State plays, in how some of the best programs in the nation play, and in particular how the Quinnipiac special teams operate. They're both top 5 units, power play and penalty kill, and they're getting a Hobie Baker candidate back in Chase Prisky, so it'll be very interesting.
Okay, so let's talk specifically about this ASU team and what they have to do to advance. But before we jump into that, I want to backtrack to that last weekend at Minnesota. It's one that Coach Powers said they've flushed. Nobody wants to remember. It was a bad taste in their mouth. It certainly generated a lot of interest around the hockey world, the college hockey world. How important, and Coach Powers didn't want to talk about redemption, but you and I can. How important is a really good run in the tournament, and more importantly, some really good hockey to redeeming themselves, if that's a word we can use?
Well, I think playing disciplined hockey is something that they've wanted to do at all times. It's a lot harder given the challenges they faced in Minnesota. That was a hot team, Olympic sheet. There's a lot of different factors you can point to there. I think just having everything.
Illness, injury,
exactly.
It was senior weekend.
Yes. Oh yeah, so much going on there. Certainly doesn't excuse their entire performance, but it's something that they know they can tighten down. And one thing that I look forward to is the senior leadership that's been here 4 years now, and they're going to definitely make sure it's reined in. Very spirited practice today, as you saw. But like they said in the pressers, they're ready to hit someone else now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long time since they've been on the ice against somebody else. But one thing that I noticed in practice today, before we get into the actual game stuff again, is that this was really detailed. Coach Powers left no stone unturned. He turned everything over. He was on that top of everything. And he told me he did that because he didn't want the guys to come into a situation that they weren't familiar with.
Exactly, and they're going to get into Allentown at a relatively reasonable time, not too early, not too late. So one thing that is going to be interesting for them there is what prep they do there. They've already done a lot here. They've watched a lot of film. A lot of scenario-specific things happened today, and I think that's definitely going to be important as we head to their departure for Allentown.
Okay, so they arrive in Allentown. Coach told me they're getting in Thursday night. They're going to have their allotted 1 hour time slot. They're going to meet the media. I said, what's game day going to be like for you? And he said, you know what, we're going to soak it all in.
Yeah.
We're going to wake up Friday morning, we're going to do our practice and our media thing, but then we're going to watch hockey. We're going to watch everybody else play. Watch everybody play on Saturday. Then we're going to get into our game mode. So now you're ready for game mode. What does this team have to do, in your estimation, to get a W and move on to the finals in the regional?
One thing we always talk about is how they come out and start games, especially off of repeated weeks off, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. First 10 minutes is going to be crucial. Obviously, we just touched on the discipline factor. One thing that I think is not very noticeable in the statistics, but has been more noticeable as we finish the second half of the season here, is the face-off numbers.
Yeah.
They need to improve in the face-off circle. If you look at the numbers, Quinnipiac, 17th in the nation in face-offs at 51.7%. Sun Devils are around the 44th, 45th spot, and the difference between them is not very significant, but still, one is above 50%, one is below 50%. And if you're going to control the puck against this Quinnipiac team that defends their neutral zone well, you're going to have to win faceoffs.
So we talk about face-offs. In your estimation, is that a mental thing or is that a skill thing?
I couldn't tell you. When I played youth hockey, it always seemed so much more simple than it really is, right? But there's gamesmanship to it. There's the experience factor going into this tournament. Pressure, if you want to call it that. I think it's just something that the rotation of centers that they've seen, the mixing of lines, it's going to need to be very, very specific to what Quinnipiac is going to pressure them with.
And you know, when I think, and I played center all the way up into college, and one of the things I thought was, if you have a mental advantage, it's the advantage that you're ready for the face-off, you're ready for the drop of the puck. Some guys just aren't quite focused all the time, and that split second can be all the difference in the world. So let's hope that they're sharp on that end. I have all indications from watching today and watching this last 3 weeks of preparation that they are ready for it. Let's talk specifically about goaltending. We already talked about Joey Decord. I would say that you have to give him a slight advantage, if nothing else, right?
I think so, just based on experience. Andrew Shortridge, great numbers this year, very much like Connor Hellebuck in the first year of the Mike Richter Award, which he won.
Right?
With very similar numbers. And the thing with Shortridge is that he spent a lot of time platooning.
Yeah.
And Joey Decord has played a full NCAA season. I think at this point, Joey Decord's seen a lot more than Andrew Shortridge has. Not to say that Andrew Shortridge will be surprised by this Arizona State team. I think the ECAC has been very, very competitive from the defensive standpoint down the stretch here. You saw all those teams, the Cornells, the Clarksons, you saw Brown even just tighten up on defense, get it done. And it's something that Quinnipiac is going to do, but it's something that Arizona State will have somewhat of an advantage between the pipes.
And I think there's another advantage that I saw, at least an advantage for the ASU team within the locker room, is you and I have seen what this team is like without Johnny Walker. We've seen him with Johnny Walker. He doesn't necessarily have to score, but when he's on the ice, you got to account for him.
Yes.
And when you got to account for him, that means you're probably leaving somebody else open.
Exactly. And one of the things that we saw today was trying to switch guys around in the power play, get some guys open. It's something that that top five penalty kill for Quinnipiac is going to try and take away. It's something that's been a focus for everyone since that night against Omaha when he scored 4 goals from the same exact spot. If you haven't watched that film,
you have to see it.
Yeah, you probably got to watch that before. It's pretty simple what you need to do there. So,
I want to also talk about Johnny and the effect that he has on Joey. I asked Joey this last week. I said, in Minnesota, you looked a little bit lost because you know where Johnny is on the ice when you're clearing the puck. And he said, yeah, you're right. I looked for him along the boards to at center ice basically to give him the puck. How big a factor do you think that's going to play in this game? And
somewhat of a big factor. Quinnipiac is very good at taking that away.
Right.
From what I've seen from their season, that neutral zone play again is fantastic. I think that they're going to be somewhat surprised at just how good he is at handling the puck.
Yeah.
People know that he's a great puck handler, but once you see him come out, take a puck away from the rim, it's going to be a surprise. It's he's where their breakout starts a lot of times. He's going to be a little bit more reserved, I think, being a win or go home game, but it's going to be something that they're not quite accustomed to seeing as well.
All right, before I ask you for your prediction, I'm going to talk a little bit about Coach Powers and the experience that he has. Although he's only in year 4 in the NCAA, he's been through the gauntlet,
Yes.
right? He's played, he's gone through the ACHA tournament. I don't care what quality of hockey you want to say ACHA is, winning 5 games to win a national championship in a matter of 6 days, 5 days, or 4 games in 5 days, however it may be, that gives you some experience and some confidence. Your thoughts on Coach Powers?
It does. That tournament is very special too, given how many teams get into that and the way the bracket's set up.
Right.
You didn't see the Lindenwood team that dominated the season this year make it to the final. I think that just speaks volumes to the amount of competition in the ACHA. One of the things that he was very good at the ACHA level was game planning for these high talent teams, the Minot States, the Iowa States, even the school down the road here.
Right.
It's something.
I know you can't say that.
Yeah, I don't want to. I want them to get a program one day, but come on, it's it's in my blood at this point. I think his game plan is going to be on point, and that's something that he's learned from his time behind the bench. He will definitely be ready for some of the things that Rand Pecknold does.
Yeah.
But like he said in the press conference, Rand Pecknold's a fantastic coach. He's done a lot of things similar at Quinnipiac to what Powers is trying to do here.
All right, final 2 questions for you. Number 1, how important is success in this regional tournament for the continued growth of this program?
You want them to make more noise if you're a college hockey fan in general, never mind an Arizona State fan,
Right.
Or someone that follows hockey in the Valley. But I think they're not happy with just getting there. But at this point, getting there has been a tremendous accomplishment.
Right.
It's more about setting them up now for the future years. Once they get this experience, they're going to know what's going to happen in years to come in regionals, whether they win this game this weekend or not.
All right, prediction time. I'm going to let you go first.
Oh,
that
man.
way I won't bias you in what I'm going to say, but go ahead and let me know what you think.
Good. I don't think you're going to like what I have to say. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. 2 great goalies, obviously. The advantage that Quinnipiac has is getting Chase Prisky back.
All right.
I think he's going to be a little bit too much for the forecheck and the neutral zone pressure for Arizona State. However, I think it's going to be something like 2-1, 1-0. Maybe we get some overtime too. It's going to be a battle.
All right, you heard it from a Sun Devil fan who's not going to speak biasly. Okay, I'm a Sun Devil fan. I didn't go to Sun Devil Nation here at ASU. I actually went to Minnesota Duluth, and I'm going to throw this out. I am so confident in this team, like I have been since July. I think they beat Quinnipiac, and I think they upset Minnesota Duluth, my alma mater, to go to their first Frozen Four ever. It's on tape, folks. Greg Cameron, thanks for stepping in for me today. My man Tom Callahan is out.
Thanks for having me.
We've got a lot of podcasts coming up. This is number 2 of 10. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff all the way through the Frozen Four, and look forward to visiting again down the road here, because I got a feeling ASU's going to keep playing.
I would not be shocked if they did. I'll tell you that much right now.